We're being recorded. Excellent. Thank you very much for the lovely introduction, Helen. I am here today to talk about Live Well with Cancer, to talk about Live Well with Healthy Habits, and a few of the things that we've going on. So I will share my screen to start us off. And I've got a nice presentation for you here. So a little bit of background about this, why I'm here today. We've been working on a campaign called Live Well with Healthy Habits. And this is based around the 9 habits of a healthy lifestyle, which I'll be looking at in a little bit more detail during the presentation. We received some funding from Northern Cancer Alliance and Point North to deliver 2 masterclasses in the Live Well Hub. We had our first one a couple of weeks ago, which went really well. We'll be doing another one in September with the date to be determined. So if you're interested in coming along, we'll be sharing information about that shortly. And we also got information funding for 12 prehabilitation workshops. So part of the funding pays for copies of the Prehab edition, which is a wellness journal which prepares patients for treatment. And then the other part is about doing workshops based around prehabilitation. So this is one of the remote ones we're doing digitally. I'm excited to be here today and kind of talk about the project as a whole and obviously Live Well with Cancer. So a little bit about my background. I am... Oh, hold on. I've lost myself. Where do I go? Back here, that's the one. Yeah, Live Well Healthy Habits. So it was developed by Transformational Learning and Live Well Cancer to help anyone improve their health and well-being. So Transformational Learning is a business that I founded with my business partner, and we develop learning resources. So that's anything from physical journals to digital solutions. We do training videos, we do workshops and masterclasses and different things like that. And then Live Well with Cancer is a North Shields charity founded by my mother, Maureen Elliott, who has over 30 years experience in cancer care. And she set up the charity to empower anyone impacted by a cancer diagnosis to improve their health and well-being. That includes family, friends, carers, healthcare professionals. We're very much an inclusive charity. Anyone impacted by cancer can come and access our services. Live Well Cancer is based on Nile Street in North Shields. And we kind of initially found our niche delivering workshops, events and support groups around health and wellness. So that's things like exercise classes, arts and crafts, support groups, one-to-one support. The one-to-one support really came into it when we moved into the Live Well Hub on Nile Street in North Shields, 38 Nile Street, a couple of years, just over a couple of years ago now. And since then, we've kind of gone from strength to strength as a charity, and we've got a lovely community here. We do all manner of things to kind of empower people to live well with and beyond a cancer diagnosis. Here's a little kind of overview of the kind of support that we do offer, and we can kind of think of it in 4 different ways, really. Arts and crafts are some of our really most popular sessions. We do fun with acrylics, 9:30 till 12 on a Monday, crafting for wellbeing's 11 till 1 on a Wednesday. I run a Live Well Writers group on a Tuesday, 11 till 2. And then we do a monthly craft and crack on a Saturday. And they're funded by the National Lottery Community Fund as part of their Awards for All campaign. And that's all about, you know, creating spaces for people to enjoy creativity, connect with other people going through similar situations and learn some new skills. So arts and crafts are very popular. We also do movement classes. So we've got a movement class every Tuesday from 6:30 till 7:30. We do a yoga on a Thursday, 4:45 to 5:45. We've got Tai Chi on a Friday, 11 till 12. Or maybe it's, no, maybe 10 to 11 Tai Chi, and then we do strength and balances 11 till 12 on a Friday. And we also do Pilates. When it comes to Tai Chi and Pilates, we run them in the Live Well Hub. We also run them in Westmore Community Centre, which is, if you're able to travel, that's a good place to go. I also run a kick around with the lads on a Wednesday night, 6 till 7. Anyone who's a keen footballer is welcome to join. We then do support groups as well. 2 of our biggest ones are breast cancer and bowel cancer. We just had our bowel cancer support group today. That was 11 till 12:30 on the 2nd Friday of the month. We then have breast cancer support group on the 4th Monday of the month at 7 till 8:30. And we've also got a couple of other ones, a veteran support group, which is run in partnership with Operation Veterans, who used to be the tenants in our building, and then the retired fisherman one who obviously worked down the fish quay. We also have one-to-one support. So we do counselling. My mum does a one-to-one nursing support for people who are looking for a little bit more support with their cancer diagnosis. We do Reiki. We do all manner of kind of one-to-one support as well. So if you want to know a little bit more about liver oil cancer in terms of that's kind of a whistle-stop tour of what we've got available weekly and monthly sessions. But if you'd like to know more, please do visit liveroilcancer.co.uk. We've got the schedule on there. You can see what's sort of in the pipeline, and we've also got some educational resources on there as well. The educational resources, that's kind of my bread and butter. So my background, I worked in the maritime industry doing e-learning for seafarers. Obviously they work on ships, so a lot of it was kind of how can you educate them when they're away at sea. I didn't particularly have much of an interest in ships, if I'm being fully honest with you, but I did learn a lot about e-learning through that job. And then when I eventually left, I set up transformational learning with my business partner who worked with me at that company, and we moved into health and wellness, which is a lot more interesting and a lot more beneficial for us. So the first thing we did was the Sleep Better series, which is a 6-module course based around what is sleep, why is sleep important, and how can you improve your sleep. We also did the Prehab Hub, which is about prehabilitation. So prehabilitation is like rehabilitation after an injury. Prehabilitation is about how can we prepare for treatment beforehand. So we'll talk about that a little bit more as we move through the process. We're just about to release Menopause Cancer in Me, which was another resource developed with Northern Cancer Alliance, and that's about menopause cancer and the impact that has on people. So whether that's surgery causing an early menopause or the treatments for breast cancer making the symptoms worse. It's got a really nice kind of overview of the different problems that people might have, and then practical solutions about how to improve them. And then finally, we're in the testing process of managing fatigue, which some people may have seen it advertised last year. We did some fatigue masterclasses with Northern Cancer Alliance. So we did 4 sessions, one in Newcastle, one in Northumberland, one in Durham, and one in Middlesbrough. And throughout that process, what we did is we collected all the key learning and we've turned it into an online digital resource that'll help people, again, similar to sleep, similar to menopause. Let's understand what the problem is. Let's understand why it has an impact and what those impacts are. And most importantly, and this is kind of what it always comes back to me, how do you improve it? What can you do to kind of improve your health and well-being? So that's transformational learning. That's my company. And these are some of the things we've done with Liver Oil Cancer and Northern Cancer Alliance in partnership. For Northern Cancer Alliance, very, very grateful for their support over the years. They've funded a lot of our work. We've worked in partnership very well together, and it's a really nice collaboration. One thing they have for people, if you're unaware of it, is My Wellbeing Space, which is an online resource designed by patients and carers for patients and carers, very keen to kind of provide the help you need when you need it. It's suitable for anyone affected by cancer, and the topics that they cover are informed by the NCPES, and I apologize, I don't actually know what that means. And then QOL, which means quality of life. And that's kind of where we've had these topics that came through to us. So sleep's a huge issue, fatigue's a huge issue, prehab before treatment, managing fatigue. And I think one of the next ones is probably going to be work and cancer as well. So they're guided by the needs of the community, and it's about how can we provide support for that. The website's great. It's got lots of helpful links, got resources on each of the topics, and then it's updated regularly by the Northern Cancer Alliance. We've also got a map and contact details of the Macmillan Information Centres, which obviously work across the region, and it's also embedded within the cancer care map. So My Wellbeing Space is a great little tool there. We've got transformational learning, liver oil cancer websites, which have also got some educational materials. So there's a little overview, and I'll kind of dip back in and give a little bit more examples of what the charity does along the way. But what I'd like to talk about today is the Wellbeing 9 a day. And the question being, what are the 9 habits of a healthy lifestyle? So I started working on the Wellbeing 9 day for myself. I was coming out of the pandemic. I picked up a few bad habits, including putting on a little bit of weight. I was smoking again. My habits just weren't in a great place. So I started a daily job list, which became, it became a kind of ticking off list of things I wanted to do. But I noticed over days and weeks that a lot of the same things were coming up time and time again. So drinking 2 liters of water, eating 5 fruits and vegetables, connecting with the people I love, moving my body, stopping smoking. All of these things were kind of repeating to a point where I initially started with the Wellbeing 5 a day, but over time I found that wasn't quite sufficient, and I settled on the Wellbeing 9 a day, which is best understood as the 3 pillars of wellness. So, we can think about the 9 habits in 3 distinct groups. So the first group is your journey, and that's how you move from the past to the present and into the future. So we're all on a journey in life. We all have a past, we all have a present, and we all have a future. So if we can build daily habits that kind of help us learn from and let go of the past, if we can learn habits that help us connect with the present moment that we're in, and if we learn habits that help us set intentions for a better future, we can empower ourselves to move forward on our journey in life. The second pillar is our health. So we can think about this as our current state on the journey. And I like to think of this in 3 different ways as well. So you've got your mental health, your physical fitness, and your emotional well-being. So each day, if we can build habits that improve our mental health, that increase our physical fitness, and that, you know, encourage positive emotions, we can boost our overall well-being and move towards a better future again. And then finally, we've got our relationships. So again, you'll see a pattern in my work. It tends to be in the 3s. It's a good way of understanding things, and it also kind of covers everything. So when we think about our relationships, we can think about relationships outside of ourselves. The most obvious one there being other people, but that you might also include your faith or pets in that in regard. It's about connecting with things that are outside of you. Next, our relationship with ourselves. So our self-care, are we tending to our needs? Are we looking after what we need? And then finally, our diet, the nutrition, the things that we're putting inside of our body. Your journey has got 3 habits in there. So we've got let go, and that's about releasing the past. So when I think about let go, I like to think of it as making space for the good habits that you're about to build. 2 easy examples for letting go would be smoking. If you're a smoker, one of the best things you can do for your health is stop. That would be stopping altogether. An alternative is maybe drinking alcohol, where, you know, maybe you don't want to stop drinking altogether, but you might want to keep within the limits of I think it's 14 units. Next up, we've got be present, and that's about connecting with the moment. So as we go through life, we only ever really experience one moment, and that's the present one that we're in. And then once it's past, it goes into the past. And what I like to really encourage is about building habits that kind of connect us with that moment. And what that means to people will be different. We've got Tai Chi, which is a very mindful practice. We've got yoga, we've got Pilates, more mind-body therapies, which people find very present. But equally, we've got arts and crafts. So fun with acrylics on a Monday morning, Live Well Hub. You'll often, 10 and 15 minutes will go by at times. It's silent, it's active mindfulness, and it's people just focusing on the work that they're doing. And, you know, a lot of people come here, they're either living through a cancer diagnosis, maybe it's the past treatment, but they've got the fear of recurrence. Maybe they've just been diagnosed. We've got people in a lot of different places, but one of the great unifiers is finding these kind of activities where you can find presence and you can connect with that moment and just be where you are. It's a beautiful thing to be in. A lot of the times you only actually realize that you've been present after the fact. It's only after, you know, it's only after you've finished the exercise and you think about it that you're like, oh, I've just been present for a long time. And then finally, we've got setting intentions. And this is kind of the heart of the journals that we've developed, really. And it's about, you know, writing things, setting intentions today that's going to make tomorrow even better. How can we aim for a better future? And one of the great things about writing something down is that it becomes very real. So when you're writing in the journal and you set the intention, it becomes a very positive thing. Next up, we've got your health. And like I say, this splits across into mental, physical, and emotional. So learn is all about expanding your mind. So this isn't, this could be things like reading a book. Today is a great example. You're learning about Live Well Healthy Habits. You learn about the Wellbeing 9 a Day. You learn about Live Well Cancer and the services that we offer. When it comes to learning, I often encourage people to learn about the issues maybe that are having the most negative effects on their well-being, or potentially even the most positive. You know, how can we maximize that, or how can we minimize the damage? So that's where things like our digital packages are very helpful. The Sleep Better series. Most of us only think about sleep when it's going wrong, but actually we spend, you know, a third of our lives sleeping, and it's an important part of our lives. But like I say, we generally only think about when it's going wrong. So by learning good sleeping habits, by learning about the sleep cycle, by learning about the circadian rhythm, the body clock, all these different things, that can help us improve the way we sleep, which benefits our well-being overall. Same with cancer, menopause, and menopause, cancer, and me. Sorry. Same with fatigue. Same with prehabilitation. How can we learn things that's going to make us more than we were? Now, as I've spoken about that, a lot of that was kind of mind stuff, but equally, if you go to a yoga class, you're learning new skills, you're learning new routines, you're learning new movements, you're learning that as well. So although I say expanding the mind, learning takes a lot of forms, and I'm a big advocate for lifelong learning. I think it's a really important thing to do. There's no real reason to stop, I don't think. There's always more to learn, whether that's about ourselves or the world around us. I think it's an important thing. Another equally important, arguably even a more important thing, is about moving, and that's exercise in your body. The reason I say it might even be more important is because the thing about moving is it improves your mental health and it improves your emotional well-being at the same time. So when you are exercising, sometimes it can be hard, but when you are moving your body, the benefits far outweigh the cost a lot of the time. So we run a lot of different movement classes in the Live Well Hub and in Westmore Community Centre. So that's things like Tai Chi, Pilates, yoga. They're very nice mind and bodies. We do a strength and balance class, which is really good for kind of older people to make sure that you're keeping your strength and your stability for going forward. We've then got other things like our Live Well Runners, which is a run club run by my sister, and we've got a fantastic event coming up in August. She's going to kill me because I've forgotten the date of it, but it's called Her Way the Bay, and it's a 15-kilometer run from Blythe back to the Live Well Hub in North Shields. We had our first one last year. It was a brilliant event. It was a really good one, and now we're having our second one this year with the aim of getting bigger, and I think it will become an annual event for going forward. They're more kind of exercise-based movements. But equally, we've got things like walking is probably the quickest and easiest thing that we can promote in terms of improving our health and well-being. One thing we do have at the Live Well Hub is this Step into Shields walking guide, which was funded as part of NS 800. And that is a kind of a historical walk through North Shields. All of it's been funded, so copies are free. We've got them available downstairs in the Live Well Hub. If you're interested, please do come by about any of the things today. Like I say, our services are free to anyone impacted by cancer, so please do come. We've got a lot of different avenues. The walking guide takes you from the transport hub down to the fish quay, and it just gives a little bit of a history about the town, has a few interactive exercises along the way, and it gets you moving. So it's one of them things. As I look at this screen now, learn, move, enjoy. That's pretty much what the walking guide is all about. It's about getting people out there. It's about learning about new things, and it's about enjoying it while you're there. And then the final one in health is about enjoy. And this is about experiencing positive emotions. So when I initially developed this, I put gratitude instead of enjoy. But what I found was that I was just writing things I appreciated, the same things every day. So my partner, my family. Changing it to enjoy really, really helped. Because what this habit of the 9 does is it almost gives you permission to enjoy the things that you enjoy. And I was on a podcast yesterday with Dr. Sam Orange, who's an exercise expert, and he was talking about enjoying, a couple of pints in the pub. He's an ex-rugby league professional player, so the culture of rugby is you're gonna enjoy a few drinks. And when he was speaking about it, he spoke about it a little bit reluctantly, as if he shouldn't be saying that. But this is where the enjoy box comes in for me, because the things that we enjoy, the benefits of going for a few drinks with your friends is far outweighs the damage of a couple of drinks. You're meeting people socially, you're connecting, you're having that time away. There's a lot of benefits there. Another example I've got is I did a one-to-one with a guy who loved going to the bookies. He liked to bet on horses. He didn't bet a lot of money, but he just liked the process of going in and chatting. And what we found was actually he didn't want to stop, but he felt bad about it. So by putting it in the enjoy box, it gave him permission to enjoy the thing that he already enjoyed, and that helped his health and well-being. So there's a little bit of a negotiation when we come to these habits. And as you can see, the kind of archetypal habits. So these are at the base of what things are, but what it means to each of us individually will be different. So what move means to me might be different from what move means to you, but we can both agree that movement's good for us. Finally, we've got relationships. So yeah, connect is about cultivating better relationships. This is about things outside of ourselves. So partners, family, friends, colleagues at work, even random people. I mean, one thing I'll promote now is the Live Well Hub itself. We've got a fabulous community here. A lot of people are all impacted by cancer, people at different stages of the journey, but it really is a great unifier and a great equalizer across the board, because the conversations that happen in the Live Well Hub are really, really important and really powerful. And it's because a lot of the time that them conversations aren't even necessarily about cancer. And I think that's also important when you're dealing with these kind of things. It's connecting with people. It's understanding that they've kind of got a similar shared experience. It's about coming together and sharing a space and sharing opinions. And it's one of the best things about the Live Well Hub. We've then got self-care, and this is all about tending to your needs. A lot of the time I do this with healthcare professionals, and invariably the habit that gets left to last with healthcare professionals is self-care. I don't know what that is. I think it might be the caregiving energy that they've got and the focusing on other people. My mum's a perfect example of this. She would sacrifice herself for any one of her children without a moment's notice, and but even more so for the rest of the Liverpool community. She's a very selfless woman, but that comes at a cost down the line because you're not necessarily looking after yourself. So I'm always keen to promote self-care as one of the most important things we can do, because if we look after ourselves first, that helps us look after other people more. So actually, you can argue that it's not selfish; it's selfless to be looking after yourself because of what you can do for other people. And then finally, you've got nutrition, and that's about developing a healthy diet. So the example I generally use in this is the Eat Well guide, because it's what the NHS promote in terms of eating well. But ultimately, as with all of these habits, guidelines are there. They're an aggregate, and they're a bit of a signpost. What the Live Well with Healthy Habits tries to help us do is find out, first off, where are we? Because there's no point in starting where we're not. We're going to start where we are, and then we can build from there. How can we start where we are and then make minor improvements so that over time they'll grow bigger and bigger? So for instance, let's say you're currently eating an apple a day and that's it. You don't eat any more fruit and vegetables. Well, maybe tomorrow you could eat an apple in an easy peeler. There you go. You've got two. If you can build that habit over a few days, maybe then you can build up to three. That's very much the process that we use when it comes to the habits. So this sort of campaign of talks I'm doing is all around Live Well Healthy Habits, the Prehab edition. So we've got a range of journals, but the Prehab edition is a 15-day version, and it's designed entirely around preparing for treatment. Now, the 9 habits I just spoke about there, I genuinely believe they help anyone in any situation. But throughout the journal, the examples that we use are very much related to prehab, so prehabilitation. Whereas, for instance, we've got for beginners of all ages version, which is a 1-day copy. That's 1 hour, 2-hour workshop, and that's just about understanding what I've just talked about for the 9 habits. We've then got a wellness week. We've got a 31-day. We've got a 91. We've got a variety. But the prehab edition is there specifically for preparing for and during treatment. So yeah, what is prehabilitation? I guess is a question some of you might have. I guess most of you will have heard of rehabilitation, which is obviously recovering after the injury. Prehabilitation is about recovering before the injury, so pre-covery, if you will. It's not a word, but I like to pretend it is. How can we get ourselves? How can we? What we often speak about is optimizing health. So how can we get in the best state possible? So say you're going into surgery or you're going into radiotherapy, chemotherapy. How can we optimize our health beforehand so that regardless of what happens when you have treatment, there's going to be a dip in your overall health? But if we can improve our baseline state before we go into treatment, it means A, the dip doesn't take us quite as low, and B, it doesn't take quite so long to get back to our kind of baseline. So prehabilitation is a healthcare process that empowers patients to improve their overall well-being before and during treatment. The habits contained within the prehabilitation can help anyone to live well at any stage in life. So if we look at these 8 here, when I was working on the Prehab Hub with Northern Cancer Alliance, they identified 8 key risk factors when it comes to cancer treatment, basically. Nutrition, alcohol, smoking, sleep, physical activity, psychological well-being, chronic conditions, and pain management. So you can see these kind of map on almost perfectly to the Wellbeing 9 a day in the project I was working on. So I already had the Live Well with Healthy Habits journals, and then we started working on the Prehab Hub, and that was when I sought a bit of funding to try and do a prehab edition, so it was more specifically geared towards these days. So if you look at alcohol and smoking, they go under let go. Nutrition is nutrition. Sleep goes under self-care. Physical activities, movement. We've then got pain management and chronic conditions. That's self-care. It's also learning about these things. Psychological well-being is improved by a lot of the habits that we've looked at already. So I'm gonna zip on through the 9 habits now, and there's gonna be one exercise, and the rest of the time I'm gonna just be asking questions, and I'd just like you to think about them. If you've got a pen and paper, maybe write them down, and you can kind of think about the ideas off the back end of it. But as I mentioned earlier, these 9 habits: let go, be present, set intentions. They're true at the core. These are foundational habits, but what that means to each of us is a journey that we have to go on. And if we go on that journey, we can find our way to wellness. So letting go, like I say, I always like to think about this as making space. We've all got a lot of habits. We've all got a lot of thoughts, beliefs. that we're carrying with us that maybe weren't even ours, maybe we don't agree with, aren't serving us. Well, this is an opportunity to think about those habits and maybe how can we move away from them? How can we let them go? One example, other than alcohol and smoking, one example that comes up all the time is screen time. So that's scrolling on your phone. And one of the things I always like to do during these sessions is encourage people to turn their phones off, because if we can have some time away from the phone, it helps with everything else. So yeah, if you're not on your phone, well, you're more present, you're more likely to engage. And it's I think it's a problem of our time, really, screen time. So that's what I would kind of point towards for letting go. But you might have your own issues, whether that's drinking too much coffee, eating too much cake, saying yes to things. That's a big one. That's a big one that comes up quite often. People are kind of committing to things that they can't necessarily commit to for other people's sake. Next up, we've got be present. So think about what activities help you be present. I've mentioned a few along the way from the Live Well Hub. So your Tai Chi, yoga, Pilates, fun with acrylics on the Monday, your art classes, crafting's a really good one. But one thing I want to introduce to you today, maybe you've already heard of it, it's box breathing. And the reason I like to share this little exercise is because it's a free, easy exercise you can do anywhere that just can help you reconnect with the moment. So I invite you, if you feel comfortable, to close your eyes, and we'll do 4 rounds of box breathing. It's called box breathing because there's 4 parts to the breath. You breathe in for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, breathe out for 4 seconds, and hold for 4 seconds. I'm going to talk you through 4 rounds now. And like I say, we're just going to try and bring our focus right down just to the breath. So just listen to my voice. I'll talk you through and I'll count you down for these 4 rounds. And that'll be a minute of box breathing. It's just an opportunity to reset and go again. It's something that if you feel anxiety coming on, it can be enough to kind of stop it building, or just generally in life, to be honest. It's a really good thing to kind of be aware of. So breathe in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4, and hold, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4, and hold, 2, 3, 4. In, 2, 3, 4. Hold, out, and hold. Breathe in, hold, breathe out, and hold. And then just allow your breath to come back to normal. That's a minute of box breathing. It's like I say, it's a technique you can use anywhere, and it's a great way to reconnect with that moment. If things are piling up, you're feeling stressed, it can be enough to just get yourself back to 0, and then you can go again with a clearer mind. Next up, we've got setting intentions. And like I said at the start, this is really the core of the journal. This is where it all started. It was a job list for me initially, but it's obviously evolved since then. But it's really important to kind of set some intentions for the future. There's a good quote by, I think it was Zig Ziglar, and it's, if you aim at nothing, you'll hit it every time. And I think it's true for a lot of us in life, where maybe you're not really a bit aimless and not really sure what to do, and it kind of gives you a little bit of purposeless in life. Set intentions gives you clarity, and it gives you a point of focus in life. So I'm actually going to give you, I always like to give homework. I'm going to give some homework, and that's to set one intention for the future. I'd like you to write something down, something that you can and will do in the future. I'm not going to check if you do your homework, but I'll take it on good faith that you will. It's a good process to go through, to write something down and say, I'm going to do that. Even if it's something as simple as I'm going to do the dishes, or I'm going to go and make a cup of tea. It's a good habit to get into. When we can set some intentions and we can complete them, it's a great feedback loop. It's really positive, and it helps us move forward in life. Next, we've got learn. So today you've been learning about live well with healthy habits. So the example well, I'll run through the 9 habits again with you quickly now. Um, we've got the first pillar of wellness, which is about your journey. So that's set intentions that aim for a better future, be present by connecting with the moment, and let go to release the past. We've then got your health. So that's learn to expand your mind, move to enjoy, to exercise your body, and then enjoy to experience positive emotions, and then relationships. So we've got connect, which is about cultivating better relationships. We've got self-care, which is about tending to your needs. And then we've got nutrition, which is about building a healthier diet. So the fact that you've came here today is great. You're looking to learn, you're looking to experience new things. The best way to learn with Live Well Healthy Habits is with our journals. So if anyone's interested, my email will be at the end. You've also got the Live Well with Cancer one. Please do come and see us in the Live Well Hub. If you'd like, a little bit of one-to-one support, or you literally just want to have the journal, that's totally fine. Please do get in touch. Please do get in touch, because the best way to learn about healthy habits is to build healthy habits, and habits aren't the sort of thing you can't do it once and then it'll stick with you forever. It's about repetition, and I find the best way of doing that repetition is to have a journal where you're moving from day to day, and it becomes part of your daily routine. Next up, we've got move, and that's ways of moving your body do you enjoy the most. Walking's a brilliant one, because it's free. It gets you out in nature, which is an additional bonus. You're using your full body when you're walking. So that's a really good one. But then the ones I find most popular in our community seem to be Tai Chi, yoga, your Pilates. It's your it's your mind body therapy. So it's your exercises that maybe low impact, a bit more kind of about your focus and ways of moving. Tai Chi, like I said, 10 o'clock on a Friday here. We've also got strength and balance on 11. So if you wanted like a double session, we have quite a lot of people who come to both of them. Yoga on a Thursday afternoon is very popular, and then we've got Pilates classes as well. So if you're interested in some exercise classes, come along to the Live Well Hub. Most of them you can just pop in. But I would say if anyone's coming to Live Well Hub for the first time, it's worth sending an email ahead of time just to kind of touch base. My mom's really great. She'll kill me for saying this, but I'm just going to keep saying it behind her back. She's the best nurse in the UK, in my biased, unhumble opinion. She's fantastic. She's set up a great service here. So if you're interested in learning more about what we do, get in touch with her, and then she'll be able to. She's got so much experience. She's done cancer care from pre-diagnosis to post-cancer care. She's all the way through. So she's got a lot of expertise. And she might be able to, well, I'd say she probably will be able to guide you towards the support that you would need. So whether that's more one-to-one, some people need counseling, some people need Reiki, some people need that kind of complementary therapies kind of things. We do have monthly sessions where Emma, our ambassador, does facials with Tropic Skincare. We also have Mags, who does oncology massages. So we've got a variety of different things that are going on here. And the best person to talk to about all of them is my mum. Second up, I would have said. So just get in touch if you'd like to know more. We've got plenty of stuff going on. Next up, we've got enjoy. And this is where I bring my second piece of homework. I think I've written it down here as homework 1. Yeah, I have. I want you to think about something that you enjoy. And it can be quite simple. It can be as simple as your afternoon cup of tea. I want you to think about something that you enjoy, and I want you to set the intention now of doing it today as your reward for coming to this session. It takes energy to come along, even when you're just listening to a presentation. So I think you've earned yourselves a lovely reward. What that is entirely up to you. I have no say on the matter, but it's important to make time for the things we love in life. It's easy to get caught up. One of my daily rituals is I like to sing the song Belle from Beauty and the Beast, the first song from the movie. And what I like to do is I like to sing every single part. It's a proper ensemble piece. There's about 20, 30 parts in the song. I like to sing it from start to finish, either when I'm driving or I'm in the shower. And invariably, I end that song feeling just at peace with the world. I've been smiling, I've been laughing at myself all the way through. That's part of the beauty of the journal, is you get to know yourself so well. So I know what makes me smile now, because I've been refining it over that period of time. So if you're struggling for ideas, get Belle from Beauty and the Beast and try and sing it all the way through. I'm sure you'll be smiling by the end. Next, connect. So what can you do to improve your relationships with other people? And this is where I'd point to our community. We've got a fabulous community here in the Live Well Hub. which kind of we support North Tyneside, the surrounding areas, and beyond. And that beyond's kind of becoming bigger and bigger, to be honest, because we find out a lot of people do travel. We have people who come to our bowel cancer group from Manchester because the support's just not available elsewhere, which is mind-boggling, really. So we understand we're very grateful. We're very grateful for our community, and it's fantastic to see it recognised and that people are willing to travel to it. So a lot of you guys are going to be from Northumberland. Some people are going to be a bit further away, and that's where our kind of outreach work is really coming in a little bit more. So part of the pot of money I talked about at the beginning for prehabilitation was about 12 Live Well Healthy Habit sessions. Now in the funding bid, I only budgeted for doing them at the Live Well Hub, but it just seems silly to us to do 12 here when I could spread them out. So one thing we are really keen to do is do them in different locations. I'll be doing one in Berwick with their cancer support group in June. Again, the date's escaping me. But the plan is to do more and more of these where we're kind of tapping into different and existing organizations. So if anyone's on the call, for instance, from a support group who runs a separate charity, we're very keen to tie in with other organizations, whether that be anything really. We're very open to it, and it benefits us as well because we're really keen to get feedback on these resources. And this session's nice because I get to talk to you about the 9 habits. I get to talk to you about the charity and what we do. It's even better when it's in person and you've got a journal because then you can take it away with you. But I've kind of got sidetracked. Anyway, the crux of this one is about connecting with people. And what we're really keen to do at the Live Well Hub is building little mini communities within our community. So we've got our bowel cancer group, breast cancer. I started a new session this Tuesday, called Live Well Lads. We got funded by Macmillan. And that's all about men who've received a cancer diagnosis and we're trying to find out what support they want. So dartboard was pretty high up the list. Walks in nature. So that the Step in the Shields guide is a perfect example of that. Games and quizzes. We're at the beginning of that project now. So any men on the call, we're really eager to have. We're really eager to have as many voices as we can, to be honest, because that's the best way of building these things. That's where the Wellbeing 90-day came from. It started with me, but it was refined over years with different workshops and different people. So even the wording. Initially, move was exercise, but that can put people off, and actually move covers it because that's better. So that's the beauty of community. You've got a diversity of opinion, you've got a diversity of ages, you've got a diversity of everything, and we can all come together. And the one thing we can all agree on is that cancer is crap. And I think that's a blanket statement. I don't think there's anyone in the community who disagree with that. So, but what we can do is we can try our best to live well. That's why we're called Live Well with Cancer. It's about how can we don't want to be defined by the cancer. How can we live well with it? What can we do? Is that going to a workshop? Is that going to a coffee morning? Coffee mornings are a great way to come and meet the community because we get a good turnout. Next up, we've got self-care, and this is a very personal one. What can you do to tend to your mind, body, and soul? So what self-care means to different people is very different. For some people, self-care might just be, taking your pills. It might, for me, it was stretching, full body stretching routine. I slipped a disc in my back in my kind of late 20s, and it was terrible. I could barely walk, but then I started a stretching routine that kind of improved it. And then I had a period where I would stretch until it felt better and then stop, and then my back would hurt again. So then I would start stretching. But now it's changed from rehabilitation into prehabilitation. Now I'm preparing for future back, and I don't have back problems anymore. That's really important for me too. Last bit of homework, I promise. Third bit for today. I want you to think of some self-care that you can do for yourself today, and I'd like you to make the commitment to do that. So whatever that might be, if it's a relaxing bath, it might just be 5 minutes of quiet, and that's surprisingly often given for people. I know people have got busy lives, I know whether kids or work or anything like that. Sometimes the best thing for you is a bit of peace and quiet. And then last habit, we've got nutrition. So 2 points I always give when it comes to nutrition. The first one is about drinking water. The Eat Well guide talks about 6 to 8 glasses of water, and then it talks about at least 5 fruit and veg. But like I mentioned earlier about guidelines, they're aggregated across everyone. I don't really, there maybe is a goal to aim towards. What's important for us to do is to start where we are and build up towards something. So if you're currently drinking 1 glass of water, Can we do two? If you eat one fruit and veg, can we do two? And then build that up over time. How can we move towards a healthier diet? You're not going to fix everything in one go. If you try, you might have a couple of good days. It might well fall off. And then I've got 3 key principles to share just about how to kind of work towards better living, in my opinion. I think these are very important. Number 1 is about starting small, growing big. So you're not aiming for the last step, you're aiming for the next step. So if you wanted to run a marathon, the first step isn't running a marathon. It'd be about maybe 5K, 10K, working it up that way. How can we start where we are and build up towards where we're going? Next, focus on progress, not perfection. Making mistakes is inevitable. Making progress is invaluable. A lot of people focus on what we got wrong, but actually it's more important to focus on how far you've come. So let's say if you're starting off with bad habits and you got 5 out of 9 on a day, well, you could look at the 4 that you didn't get, or you could look at the 5 that you did. And that's very much the way I like to think about these things. And then finally, we've got compete against yourself, not others. So this is about present you, the you of today, competing against the you of yesterday, so that future you can be the best version yet. When people move into wellness, a lot of the time they will look around and look and compare themselves to other people, but it's just not a fair comparison. If any of you were to compare yourself to how I use the Wellbeing 90-Day Journal when I'm 6 years in and you haven't done it before, it's just not a fair comparison. But you of today can compete against you of yesterday, so that you of tomorrow is even better. And that's the way I like to think about it. Here's a little example of what the journal looks like. Like I said, please do come by. We've got funding for copies of the journal, and I'm really eager to get more feedback from it. If you think it's something of interest to you, I'd love to share, whether that's a prehab edition or you might want to dip your toe in with one of our 1-day copies. It's entirely up to you. But if you come by the Live Well Hub, but you can get in touch first, or just swing by when we're open, and I'll help you supply with the journals. But you can see how it works. So we've got setting intentions up here. This is almost like a catch-all for things that aren't covered elsewhere. So that's where I would put things like doing the dishes or whatever. And then we come down here. So we've got the intention of box breathing for being present, screen time, you can kind of see the examples. And then you have these boxes here for reflections. So you might find that your screen time's struggling. It's an opportunity to basically say why, maybe correct your intention for the future. It's a dialogue between the past and the future. That's what this journal does. And a lot of the time when I'm using it, I only really think about 1 day, but I think about a 3-day span. So I think about yesterday, I think about today, and I think about tomorrow. It's a really, really helpful way. And the beautiful thing about a journal is if you've had a bad day, you can turn the page over and the next day is a fresh start. It's a really good way of viewing life. And a lot of the time, when I think about habits, good habits cluster and bad habits cluster. So when we start living well, let's say we start exercising. Well, if I'm exercising, I'm going to want to eat better, because I don't want to waste the exercise that I'm doing. And if I'm eating better, I want to take care of myself. And if I'm taking care of myself and I'm feeling good, I want to connect with people. And you can see how these things all group together, and it becomes a holistic change to your kind of overall well-being. The same works in the reverse. So you have a big night of drinking, the next day you aren't moving because you want to stay in bed. You're going to have a takeaway because you can't be bothered to cook. You're definitely not doing self-care beyond watching Netflix for the day. And it goes the other way as well. So what we're trying to do is kind of nudge the needle in the positive direction and then try and align everything together in one direction. So that was it in a nutshell. Well, I say a nutshell, it's probably more than a nutshell. But here's my email address. So thank you so much for listening. I'm looking forward to some questions at the back end of it. Thanks again to Northern Cancer Alliance and Point North. Really appreciate their funding for this project. Thank you so much for Health Watch from Northumberland for hosting me, and then thank you for Macmillan Support as well for kind of helping with the project. If you want to speak with me directly, transformation@livewellwithcancer.co.uk. If you want my mum, and I wouldn't blame you for it, go to info@livewellwithcancer.co.uk. So my area is more the educational side, and then my mum's everything. She's the one-stop shop for Live Well Cancer. And I will stop sharing.